Yeet, and welcome to the channel. This is Blind Ace, and today we're going to be talking about a bittersweet topic because this used to be the wheel that I had on the G920. So I have converted the G920 back to stock because I'm going to be handing it down to a friend of mine that's local, trying to get them into sim racing because I got a new kit. So if the sticker wasn't in the way, you be able to know what brand this is. Those that already know should still know what this is. Um, so that is the topic for today, unfortunately. But hear me out. I am going to be talking about Fanatec, but I hope it comes off more as a father trying to share wisdom than a spoiled kid mad at the instant gratification not being as instant. Because again, I did get my order, and I actually put in my order on the first week of December, and I got it before the end of December. So all things considered, I shouldn't be mad, and I really am not, but I still ended up getting some missing hardware, which isn't that big of a deal because the parent it still works. Like I still managed to put my pedals together even though I was missing a couple screws. And if I really wanted to get the screws, it's something I could find at a hardware store very easily. The problem is that there is more than just a handful or a negligible amount of people that have not been as lucky. And I am not the one to be, I'm not the type to say, fuck you, I got mine. If something is not right, I will still speak out about it, even though I am not personally suffering from it. So, with that being said, I want to talk about it while running some laps. So, let's get ACC going. All right, so I got ACC loaded up and set up for a 30-minute quick race with 20 AIs. Um, let's get this started. Um, I guess I got to start from the beginning. So, I originally already had planned to go to a direct drive wheel either towards the end of the year or early this year. But it turned out that there was like pretty good Black Friday deals and also to the weeks leading up to Black Friday. Specifically for Moza, there was a deal for the R5 bundle or base bundle. So it was the R5 wheel with two pedal setup, braking gas, no clutch. But it was cheap enough to the point where um, I would get the R5 wheelbase, the steering wheel, and I could get the load cell brake pedal set up with a shifter for around like $800. And that was what I originally put my order for with Moza. And this is, I think, the week before Thanksgiving. And that week went by, Thanksgiving week went by, and there was zero communication from Moza. Like, and also like no order status change anywhere. Like there was nothing saying that they have packed up my order and it was getting ready for shipping, or they're waiting on X item to complete the order to be able to ship it. Nothing. So then that following Monday after Thanksgiving, I sent in an email to Moza to check in on the status, and if they weren't able to put the order together essentially to process it and have it ready for their delivery service to pick it up so that the tracking number gets fulfilled and sent out to me by that Friday, then I would most likely end up canceling my order. They didn't give me any status updates. They didn't tell me what they had in stock, what they didn't have in stock. Nothing like that. All they said, okay, yeah, we can cancel your order if you want. So I was like, fuck it, I guess. We're canceling the order. So thankfully, canceling the order went way quicker, way more smoothly than actually ordering from them. Uh, at the same time that I put in my order, though, I had a friend put in his order for a R9 kit with the load cell pedals. And apparently he's finally gotten all of his stuff now, up to this week was when he got his wheelbase. He got his pedals and the steering wheel way earlier, but he didn't get his wheelbase until this week, and we put in our orders at the same time before Thanksgiving for Moza. So my course though was I put in my refund with Moza. That Tuesday I believe was when they got back to me. Wednesday I got my money back, and on the 7th of December I put in my order with Fanatec for this kit that I'm currently driving on right now. It's a DD with the 8mm booster pack or booster kit or whatever they call it. Which is good. Like, it's a direct drive. Like, there's not much that, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but there's not much difference between the different models of direct drives out there, because all it basically boils down to is it's a servo motor. So I can't really complain. Like, I got my items pretty quickly, but the problem is that I'm not the norm, and that's not how it should be. The norm should be getting your items, and then the outliers should be maybe not getting your items, or maybe getting an incomplete order. But that's not the case with Fanatec at the moment, and apparently it hasn't been the case for a while. And I originally didn't want to put my Fanatec order or an order in with Fanatec. I wanted to go with Moza for other reasons as well. So Moza has their wheelbase built with more, I wouldn't say like off the shelf items, but with more commonly available items. So more standardized sized bearings. The plug on the wheel for the steering wheel is a more common type of automotive plug. All the electronics inside of the wheel are commonly found electronics, nothing proprietary. And on the other hand, with Fanatec, it's the completely opposite. It's proprietary sized bearings, a proprietary plug for the steering wheel. I haven't even looked inside of, like, or to see anybody taking apart these P1 V2 steering wheels to see what they look like inside, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bunch of like one-off custom electronics in here that I will not be able to find replacements for. And with the way that Fanatec customer service is set up at the moment, if anything were to break on the steering wheel, I'm basically fucked. I mean, not entirely fucked. I can fix most things. Even if I can't find the proprietary item, I will find a workaround and find something that I can modify to make it fit. But like, that's not how it should be. And then the icing on the cake which is the main topic of the video that I guess I'm gravitating towards, is the current state of the companies that are supplying us with these direct drive setup or direct drive options at the entry level. There's a lot of more options at the higher end, but you're looking at $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 just for the wheelbase and the wheel alone. So on top of that, you still have to spend extra money on the pedals if you don't already have pedals, and also a rig if you don't have a sturdy enough desk like I do that you could trust with this kind of force going through it without the desk moving around. So it's a very hefty investment. And for Moza and Fanatec to basically be the only budget options available at the moment, it's not looking very good for the sim racing industry, even as a hobby, because everybody is relegated to belt driven wheels or a Logitech if they want to stay within the budget options under $500. And I'm not saying those wheels are bad. I mean, I had my Logitech for 3 years. It is a very good wheel for the money, but it definitely is not the wheel you want to be using for more competitive stuff like this. You can use it. It is possible. There are people out there doing it. It's not recommended for a lot of reasons. So I don't know. I just hope these companies figure out their logistics and communication to be able to retain customers. At the current rate, there isn't a lot of retention. There are no incentives to be retained by any of these companies at the moment. I could have been a little bit more patient with Moza, but with the not really reviews, but case stories of customers after the fact on forums that I had been reading and been told by other Moza owners. Like, I could have been waiting anywhere between 3 months or 2 months, like my friend that finally got his wheelbase, or I could have been waiting up to like 6 months to get everything in my order. I haven't even waited that long for anything custom made by niche craftsman or something from a local area. I had actually had my wedding rings made by a craftsman from my hometown, handmade. Everything was sourced by her, and she had my rings done in about 6 weeks. Yeah, there's a little bit more going on into these wheels, but at the end of the day, it's a fucking servo motor, a step motor, that most likely they already have a manufacturer that's pumping these out, maybe hundreds at a time. They just gotta re-up that delivery anytime they run out of stock, and the rest of their labor is assembly. So either you streamline the assembly process to make it faster and more efficient, or you hire more workers to spread out that labor and make it faster. And if it's not a backlog issue and it's a logistical warehouse issue, then you hire a consulting company to figure that issue out for you, and you carry out their prescribed fixes as prescribed, essentially, and you stick to them. You don't just do something one time and then it magically fixes your business. You have to, it's like a diet. It's like a workout routine. Like you're not gonna see consistent benefit and progress unless you are consistently sticking to your prescription. And the moment you start slipping on that routine is when you start seeing backlog or drops in performances, and then you have to work twice as hard to catch up on that. And if you don't work twice as hard and you just keep working normally on your routine, then you are consistently behind on that work until you work twice as hard. And that's the vibe that I'm getting from both Fanatec and Moza, is that they both have logistical and communication issues. Moza primarily has communication issues because they are based in China. I do not think they have anybody on staff, or maybe just one person on staff that can actually speak English, or a handful of people on staff that can speak English, and everybody else doesn't do customer service because they can't unless you send an email in Chinese. And no, not Chinese, because that's not a dialect, but like, you get the point though. Fanatec doesn't have that excuse because they are a company based in the European Union. So the likelihood of them having bilingual, trilingual employees that not only speak their native Belgian, but also speak English, there's a higher probability of that, with the likelihood that every single employee knows at least a little bit of English, and they should be able to keep up with the flow of emails. Not only that, but be able to keep up with the flow of orders without making mistakes. And if there is a mistake made, to be able to correct it before the mistake is solidified by sending the item out. Because a mistake could be something as small as my instance, where I'm missing a couple screws for my pedal setup, or it could be like somebody else that's missing their quick release for their wheel, where they essentially can't use the wheel because there's no way for them to connect the wheel to their wheelbase. Or it could be like another guy that I used to know almost 10 years ago, when my setup at the time was a Driving Force GT, and he would clown me on that because he had a CSR Elite, up until the point where his CSR Elite burned up. So the belts and everything internally were fine. It was the motors that got burned up, and they weren't commonly found motors. Like, they were proprietary, one-off, custom-built motors, instead of finding something that was off the shelf to be able to easily find replacements. Fanatec very pointedly decided to go off with proprietary motors, and they wouldn't send any replacements. They would say, we don't have any spare motors, and since we don't have any spare motors, we cannot send you one either to make a repair yourself. I'm falling behind on the pace of the lead pack because I'm more focused on my talking than my driving lines. At the end of the day, the only way to fix this is holding these companies accountable, and saying that people don't have a right to complain because there are people getting their items doesn't help anybody. It gives the companies a way out, and they can ignore the problem as they have been ignoring for several years. But the person who loses in that case is the consumer. We don't win because the company stays afloat, or we don't automatically win because the company stays afloat. We win when the company stays afloat, but we also get what we pay for. And that's not only the product at the end of the day, that's also support for when things go bad with the product. And I agree that it shouldn't be like free repairs for life, but at least give us an option to send the wheel in and pay to have it repaired, or design the wheel in such a way that we can find the repairs ourselves or replacement parts ourselves and repair it. Because you're not losing out on any money. You're already losing out on the money of the customer not being retained. We are not going to go back to go buy other items. We're going to go with a competitor. Like what I did with Moza, I canceled my order with them and I went with a competitor. In my personal case, I went with the correct competitor because I have my items. It could have gone completely different as well, though, with the same person that I went with my order, or the same company that I went with my order. But just like that as well, when I first put in this order, I was gonna go with the QR2 quick release upgrade to upgrade this wheel, because I don't want to be driving on this plastic clamp style quick release for too long. But now I'm leaning against that, so I'm not going to be buying the QR2. I'm not going to be giving Fanatec another $200. I'm going to be finding alternatives. Because like I said, I have the skill set, the knowledge, the time, and the motivation to go find aftermarket solutions that may or may not require modification for me to make them work. I'm gonna focus down for the last couple laps. I'm gonna try to set a hot lap and see what I can wring out of this car. Too early. It really is crazy what talking does to the brain while you're driving, because look at that delta. way too much of a slide. Again, closing announcements is I hope the company's got their stuff together because we do need entry level direct drives. Without them, we're stuck with Sim Magic, the Alpha Mini. I'm blanking out on the others at the moment, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, it's ridiculous. It's like a car down payment for these rigs. Um, and we need the under 1,000 market to stay healthy, and it can't be healthy with the current state of Fanatec and Moza. They need to figure out. Moza needs to figure out communication and logistics somewhat. They just need to communicate that either they don't have everything in stock or that they need to source their items from elsewhere to be able to fulfill an order, because that's something that I've read, but I haven't really fully confirmed that that's exactly how they do it. That they have their product essentially spread out a bit, and they have to contact resellers and uh, other like third party distributors to be able to put together somebody's order and have it shipped out. Um, they need to communicate that better if that is the case. Fanatec, on the other hand, needs to do communication and logistics a lot better since they have their own warehouses essentially. Like, they hire out warehouse space to manage their inventory. They need to manage that better, and they need to communicate their moves better. Starting with updating their website where it says that it will take 4 to 7 days to have your item shipped out. They should definitely take that off of there until they figure out their situation to where they can fulfill that. At the current moment, they cannot. Even in my case, it wasn't 4 to 7 days. I waited 2 weeks. There was zero communication for those 2 weeks, and zero recourse for me to seek for that communication because the only thing available to me was the online chatbot. And all it would say is to check my orders page for an update to be able to receive a tracking number, and there was nothing until the day that there was a tracking number there, and that was the week before the wheel was delivered on like the 28th. So I didn't receive a tracking number until the stuff was packaged and handed over to the carrier, as it normally is. Like, there, you don't get a tracking number until it's handed off to the carrier. The problem is that there was that 2 week delay between them receiving the order, and then it was 2 or 3 days for them to send an email saying that they're working on the order to put it together. And at that point, you can't refund your money with Fanatec anymore. That's a difference between Fanatec and Moza. Is that Moza has a similar thing, but they don't immediately hold your money hostage. They only do it legitimately until they really have the first items out for delivery. Fanatec, on the other hand, just waits 3 days. They may or may not have anything in your order prepared and ready, and they hold up your money, and you can't refund at that point anymore. Then there was the week and a half, almost 2 weeks of no word after that until they finally sent out the tracking number for the product. What happens within those 2 weeks? Who the fuck knows? Same with Moza. Like, what happens within those 2 weeks that there's zero communication and they haven't even gotten that first item out into the mail? And by the Friday, they weren't going to be able to, or they were confident that they weren't going to be able to put together the entire order to ship it out at once. Why not communicate? Like, we have the bundle kit in stock because that's easy to stock, and we definitely had it in stock. Otherwise, we wouldn't have it available in the website. So that's ready. We're waiting on your load cell pedal kit. We're waiting on the clamps or for your shifter, or we're waiting on the shifter or XYZ to be able to ship it out. Like, just communicate that, and maybe some people would actually be lenient with it. But if you just say nothing in regards to everything else that was previous in the email, you just look at the last bit on the email that says, if you can't do this by Friday, then I will refund. And you only respond to that with, yeah, we could refund you. Like, what else do you expect the customer to do? It sucks because, like, it's good product. Like, and I still wish, even though I have 3 more Newton meters on this, I still wish I had the Moza kit, because I already know, like, if anything breaks on this, I'm gonna have to figure out so much shit on how to make other aftermarket switches work for the pedal shifters, soldering, resoldering switches on the PCB for all of this. I already have to figure out the fucking clamp, which is fairly easy. It's honestly like a quick release on any other wheel. The 6 bolts over here. Funny thing though, proprietary pattern on the fucking quick release right here. They couldn't keep it simple like 70 millimeter by 6 or 75 millimeter by 6. It's about 70 millimeter by 6. The difference is these are not, it's not a uniform 6 bolt pattern. It's like these are centered. These are not at the 60 degrees. They're off of the 60 degrees. And also, like, if you were to take a measurement from here and take a measurement from here, this distance is shorter than this distance. Why? No fucking clue. No idea. Just to be different. I'm different. Yeah, I'm different. Pull up to the scene with my windows missing. I don't know. Like, and it's just bullshit. Like, I'm so tired of companies doing that. So I'll leave it off with that. Hopefully the sim market heals and we get better options for the newcomers. It sucks to have your money tied up into stuff like this and not have any recourse. It is a lot of money, especially for somebody starting out. I'm comfortable in the spot that I'm at right now, so I'm able to do stuff like this. But looking back at where I was when I started with a Driving Force GT, I wouldn't ever dream of putting up this amount of money for a hobby. Like, it doesn't make sense, and this is part of the reason why the hobby feels sparse. Like, there is not many people into it because it's expensive, and it's not only expensive; it's an uncertainty while being expensive, and it can't be like that. Like, if it's gonna be this expensive, then there has to be a level of certainty within it. So that's it. Catch you next time.
I've been turning up for a long time. I've been smoking gas for a long time. For a long time. I gotta get these bitches off my mind. I gotta make it down. I gotta do what I do. I gotta make sure I make it right.